Started recording on both camera and iPhone. Well, there are a lot of things that I want to say. But I'm not quite sure how to say it and in what order. I haven't written anything down. And that's supposed to be a testament to how fresh it is in my mind every day. And granted, I'm not at 100% today. I mean, quite frankly, I don't think I'm at 100% most days, especially now. But I wanted to explain what's happened over the last few months, simply because I haven't made any content except maybe an exception for one video that I pre-recorded. And I'm at a place now where mentally I can start really putting out content again. But before I go into the emotions of things and how I feel, I wanted to tell you what's happened. And those that look a little closer than most probably can piece together something some sort of narrative, some sort of story. But let me first tell you where I'm at geographically at this current time. I am living in Wells, Nevada, living with my mom. And before I go any further, I want to say also that I am a very honest person. It's probably the one virtue that I find to be very important. If not one of the most important things. For someone to be an honest person is not an easy thing, because a lot of us are ashamed of what we go through, what has happened to us, what we've done to others. And I don't know, as much as I'm in a place now where I relate to that on many levels. A lot of bugs out here. A lot of noise too. Stop, dude. Go away. I will kill you. So yeah, I'm in Wells, Nevada, living with my mom. I want to say also, I'm going to try to make this as short as possible, but I'm fairly certain that this will be a long video. So if you would be so kind to watch it all the way through, I would greatly appreciate it. But I can almost guarantee that a lot of people are not going to make it all the way through this. If not most or everybody. But that's fine. A lot of this I just need to get off my chest and get out of my chest and into the world for my own peace, for my own sanity. And I will also say I'm working on a lot of content. I'm writing a lot of stuff down. I'm making a lot of music. And as much as I want to release it as soon as it's done, or as soon as a song is done, I need to make a whole project before I release it. So it's going to take a while. But, in between my emotions and writing music, I'm also working on my website projects like I have been for the last many years. But and with me bringing up the honesty bit, I say that because a lot of people would try to cover up the fact that they live with their mother. But there's two things I can say on that. One, it's hard out there. It's hard living in the world today as a young adult. Everybody has their privilege, or the lack thereof. But from a majority, a lot of us are struggling. So don't be ashamed. Just like I'm not ashamed. I mean, I wish I was still living on my own. I wish I could hold my own. But the way the world is right now, we are all defined by the money we make. Even if it's a small amount. Right now, I'm not making any money. And it's a real slap in the face as to how much we depend on money when you don't have any of it. And, my projects, my music, my websites, even my Patreon, and even graphic content that I plan on putting out. I want to make a living off of that. But the entrepreneurial life is not easy. You more or less have to sell or convince yourself to people that you don't even know to buy things that they may not like enough to buy. Or you advertise to a group of people that don't have money to buy anything extra. It's really a hard thing to come by. And there's a lot of other things I want to do, like public speaking. When music comes out, I'll want to perform on stage. But I have a unique story, and I'm writing an autobiography up to this point in my life. But anyway, I have a lot of things planned. I'll have a lot of work to do. I still gotta find a job. And it's hard for me to find anything that's not creative, or do anything that's not creative, because I am a very creative person. Kind of jobs I'm looking for, just in case anybody wants to know. Really anything in the digital creative field. I don't care what it is. It could be office work, honestly. But my ideal wanted job right now would be web development or graphic design. And of which both I've been doing for 10 years, over 10 years. But I don't have any degrees, I don't have any certificates. Mainly because I just don't do good in school. School systems are not for me. But anyway, I think that is good for my preface. So I'll start getting into the actual story as far as what's happened in the last year, I'll say, year or two. Maybe even 3. I'm trying to figure out how far I really want to go back. But I think I'll stay within context of the story and the connections of people. So it all started I was doing work with a group of people. One particular, I'd almost call her a headhunter, had introduced me to her and her group of people to do work for, do video, photo, graphic, and website work for. And things started going sour with them. I won't go into too much detail about them because this isn't really about them. But I was then sued in small claims court for equipment that was given to me for compensation. Spending time with them and working for them, making graphics, websites. And other things, videos, photo shoots. And because I departed from the company, whether that be a company as in a business, whether that be a company as in a group of people, I decided to leave the company. There's so many bugs out here. There's a lot out here. I'm pausing real quick. If you see, Wells is in the middle of nowhere. So this is very wildlife, and it's also very desert. Just as a side note. But even though they gave me that equipment, I even asked them, so this is mine at one point. They said, yes, it's yours. You know, I thought I was in good faith. But when I decided that enough was enough because I was being manipulated, I was being mentally abused, I decided to leave. And at that time that I left, I was in a relationship. And I don't know if I should be naming names, but this person that I was in a relationship with what ended up being my baby mama. So I had a child with her. She had initially got pregnant the first time. The egg got stuck in her fallopian tube. So she had to abort the baby or she would have died. But then we tried again. And I'll be honest to say that I don't know that we were actively trying to have a baby. I don't remember. It might have been in a case where we weren't really trying to. She was telling me, actually, I was being lied to. She was telling me that she couldn't get pregnant because of her PCOS condition. And whether she was being lied to or I was being lied to, I don't think it really matters. But when I would presume in good faith that if, when she found out that she could get pregnant, when she did get pregnant, but it got stuck in the fallopian tube, that she regained hope and we tried it again because we were in a relationship at the time and she had already gotten pregnant once, so why not try again? And then my daughter, and I will say her name because she is my daughter, my little girl Iris, was born September 12th, 2017. And that was a beautiful day. It was also a scary day. Her umbilical cord was wrapped around her neck. So anytime mom had a contraction, her heart rate would drop. Iris's heart rate would drop. So it had to be a quick birth. But she made it. And then a couple years later, after I was trying to be the best dad I could, and before I go too far into the story, I will also preface by saying that I fully understand that I have relatively severe anger issues. In times of high stress, or in times of severe unsatisfaction, I get very upset. I get very angry. And I've never harmed anyone. I don't divert my anger towards anyone. At least I try not to. But when I get into that space, I become uncontrollable. So, with that preface, with that being said, I started getting severely unsatisfied in my relationship. And I was doing everything, as so I felt. Mom would wake up early in the morning to start work. She would end work early. I had my full-time job at the time. So I would work. But every day I came home to a messy house. And granted, that is part of having kids in your household. Because Iris had regardless of whether her sister is my daughter, I consider her to be. And if she ever sees this, you're still my daughter in my heart. But Iris' sister and Iris were both in the house at the time. You know, as kids do, they make messes. But almost every single day I came home, it was messy. And every single day I would either wait to clean until later in the day, like 10 p.m., or I would try to clean up then. And I was still pursuing my legacy projects at the time, my website work and music and stuff. Wasn't getting hardly anything done. And that was a part of my frustration at the same time. But when push came to shove, Iris's baby mama declared that she no longer loved me. She fell out of love with me. She stated that. And I started becoming pretty depressed. And there was a lot of things that I was unhappy with. As, like I said, I was unsatisfied. But even when I'm unsatisfied, I try to stick it out as much as I can. But as I also said, I got angry. Started hitting walls. Not putting holes in walls, but like the stud part of the wall where there really can't be holes. You have to hit pretty hard for there to be some sort of damage. When I inflicted damage on myself, I would toss things or throw things around out of anger. And of course, that would scare anybody. I would slam doors. I would often go on walks to alleviate my anger. Or I would drown myself in work, which made me absent most of the time to my own kids because I didn't want to be around them when I was angry. Which was also any time that I was unsatisfied, which was most of the time. Then I ended up serving my baby mama with parenting plan paperwork while I was still in the house. And I was paying for the internet at the time. I had my own Nintendo Switch at the time. I had my own phone. All under the umbrella of myself and her, Iris's baby mama. And when I did that, she illegally logged into my Apple account and erased all my devices. She changed the locks on all the doors in the house. She unplugged all the cameras that I had under my name and the internet that was under my name. And I was pushed into a room in the house that wasn't technically our room, but it was an extra room. I can't say that I was allowed to hang out with my daughters at the time. And my stepdaughter at the time, Iris's sister, was then being told also that I was not her father, even though I was there for her for 4 years of her life. And Iris was, I think, 3.5, turning 4, if not already 4, when this happened. And this was in the year 2020. And as all this was happening, actually, before this happened, I get these mixed up all the time. Before this happened, my dad had passed away. And as disheartening as that is, everybody's parents die eventually. It's grief that everyone will have to feel at one point. So, I still had my job at the time, thank God. Another part about this place is that there is a train really close by. Train tracks. And I ended up getting my own place in the midst of my depression. And I think me having my job helped. So I was still able to be around people. I was severely depressed, but I was still able to be around people and go do something, keep my mind off of my depression. And I ended up living on my own, started a parenting plan. I got to see my daughter every Wednesday and every other weekend. And that is part 1. Now on to part 2. So I was living on my own. In a duplex for about a year. And one of my baby mama's best friend. Again, I'm going to try not to name names. That used to be, or is, the godmother of Iris's sister. She was there before I was. She was taking care of Iris's sister, but, when she was an infant. Iris's mom was in school at the time, from what I was told. And I was introduced back when I was dating Iris's mom. So we've known each other off and on for a long time. We started talking more. Iris's sister's godmother. We started talking more. I want to make sure I'm illustrating who I'm talking about, because I don't want to name names. She has 4 boys. We started talking. We started hanging out more. And then we started dating. And those of you that watch my reaction videos, at least the later ones from today, May of 2025, you can actually see her at the end of the video. We started dating, and as every start to every relationship, it's always wonderful. Both people are Twitter-pated and want to do everything with the other person. She was working, I was working. But any chance we had, we'd hang out with each other. My lease was ending at my place, so I ended up staying with her. And then she's always talked about wanting to get a house for her kids that is a comfortable place to live. I did all the legwork. I mean, before we did that, she had a hysterectomy, and I tried my best to take care of everything while she was bedridden. And I took care of her dog, I took care of her kids. I wanted to be her second person, her person to rely on, because she had a lot on her plate. She always has. Her life, as she puts it, has always been chaotic. But at the time I didn't care, and I still don't care. In a way of, I would put myself in her position, or put herself as her second or helper at any time. Because what she has gone through, what she goes through on a daily basis, she doesn't deserve. But we made plans. I went into debt, went $8,000 in debt to afford first, last month and deposit for our house for us to move into. We moved into this house. It was, again, wonderful at first. But everything that I was told, that she's a clean person, a lot of different contradictions happening in the household, according to my judgment, and conflicting beliefs. We started to become angry with each other. Not in a cuss at each other way, but in a way that our understanding of each other and our love for each other just started to dissipate. I had CPS called on me once because one of the younger children had said that I pinned them up against the wall by their neck, which wasn't true. But the CPS was called on me again for something that was true, but some parts weren't. Because of unsanitary conditions in the house, and because, again, I, at this point, was very unsatisfied in my relationship. And I had expectations that were either being taken or weren't being fulfilled. Or just not feeling valued as a father figure in their house. Their mom was still mom and dad. I was just a bystander with little influence. And it got bad. Where there was moments where we would cry. We're trying to work things out. But she's also a kind of person that really doesn't seek outside counsel for our relationship. And as much as I was trying, nothing stuck. Even at the end, I was seeing a therapist, seeing two, And neither one of them were really helping me as I needed to be helped. And I lost who I was. Same old loving person. Same old person that cares for others and human beings in the full respect. I was no longer that person. I became resentful, abusive. And it was more verbal and emotional abuse than anything. But she has parental principles that I don't necessarily agree with in certain lights. Of course, every situation is different. Every situation can be complicated. And I tried to follow suit, and I took it too far. The CPS situation was about me one morning throwing things around, becoming very upset with the situation. And I scared the oldest so much that he went to his bus stop crying. And he mentioned that I was becoming scary. And again, I've seen things like this happen with their mom, where she would grab her kids up by their shirt and move them into a place where she would discipline them or whatever. And the worst it got down to was a spanking with a belt on her front. For me, it was always, just a hand on the butt. But at this point, the younger boys had peed the bed, and the bed hadn't been cleaned yet for almost 2 days. And at this point, it was a Monday, and they needed to be cleaned. So I had to get them in the shower before I started work, before she started work. And I just got angry. I was very angry at that time. The moment CPS was called, I got involved. I went to go pick up the kids after work that day. And there were some things that were reported in that CPS report that weren't true. Like, they claimed that one of the kids in the back had their legs or their arms, or they were basically flying out of the vehicle. That wasn't true. At the time, I had both car seats in my car on either side for the younger two, and I had the older two in the car with me. So the second to oldest was told to sit in between those 2 car seats. And they did. But they also mentioned that I just wheeled my tires, and that I did. That's because I have a manual vehicle, and anybody that drives a manual, hit the accelerator down enough and let go of the clutch, it will skid no matter what you do. But I will say I was not happy at that time. I was very depressed. I was very angry with how things were going. So I didn't want to get CPS involved. But because I was scary to the kids, that's what happened. Time went on, the emotional roller coaster of things being fine to things being terrible. Almost a weekly occurrence of me wanting to commit suicide, me wanting to die. Because this woman I fell in love with, at one point had said that I am her soulmate. And she is so happy to have someone that stepped up to do the right thing for these kids. And I loved being that for her. One habit, I did everything with this woman. Everything. Her life is so chaotic to a point where I had no choice but to do everything with her. I had to. She would get upset with me sometimes for not being around. I would hide in the bedroom, or I would be down in the office working for hours because it was so much. But she would also say, then what about me? I'm having to do the same thing. And I was like, okay, I hear you. I'll be right there. And we would also smoke marijuana very often. Like 4 or 5 times a day. Something I could no longer do because it has a memory attached. We would also drink almost every night. Not a lot, just enough. And when it came down to it, we went to a family reunion with my family in Idaho. And my family got to see how I was, how we were. They recommended that we separate to get things under control. Months later, she agreed to the separation. And a few months before that, she said she was done. And I begged and pleaded. I said, no, you said you would never be done. You said you were going to be there with me, no matter how bad it got. But then, like I said, she agreed to a separation. I also agreed to it because I knew things weren't going to get any better because I tried and tried and tried and tried and tried and it didn't work. 3 months into this separation, with the indication that we were supposed to get back together after this, she She said that she no longer sees a future with me. But I left out an important detail in the whole midst of this. I lost my job in November. So I not only lost my house, lost my job, and when we were driving to Seattle that summer to pick up my daughter from the airport in Seattle because she's an unaccompanied minor, she cannot fly directly into Spokane, Washington, my car broke down. The pilot I had for years before seized up due to lack of oil and was unrecoverable unless we wanted to repair or replace the whole engine. So we had to pay $1,000 or be loaned $1,000 to tow the vehicle halfway or an hour away from Seattle to get to Seattle that night at around 1 or 2 in the morning, or it might have been earlier. But I lost my car. I later lost my house. I lost my job. And then 3-4 months after that, I lost my relationship. I have nothing. When I say that out loud, I hear my mom in my ear saying, "No, you have something. You have us. You have your family. You have a car." Yes, I have a car, but it has electrical issues, and I have to jump it every time I use it. But in the things that really matter to me, and another detail I left out that I forgot to mention before with Iris's mom. After Iris's sister's godmother, the one that I just told you about, after we got together, Iris's mom took Iris away. She served me and the godmother that I was dating, I had just started dating, with restraining orders for 8 years that were both dismissed. But in the midst of those restraining orders, she took my little girl to Tennessee. Because of how the laws are, after $10,000 of debt and even more in paying attorney fees, I was never able to fully recover my daughter. At most, there's a few holidays out of the year that I see her for a week, and in the summertime I see her. But for her school developments, I don't see her at all. As much as I want to say I'll just get up and go live where she lives, I don't have opportunity like that to do that. I don't know enough about the system to do that. And I'm a creative person. I would rather see my entrepreneurial projects succeed than work a job that I don't like. But in closing, I'm devastated. trying to be happy again. And I'm still hopeful of the future. And even though my now ex does not see me in her life, I hope that one day we can see each other again as healed people and return to the plan that we had. Because at the end of the day, we're all human. And I did a lot of things I regret. And I hurt. I hate where I'm at all the time. I hope that things turn out to be good. I often refer to myself as a dead man walking nowadays. Because all the people in her family that said I was family, they told me that they loved me. Because of my actions, because of how things happened. That's no longer the case. And I'm developing severe trust issues. Being able to trust anybody else in my life. And I often refer to myself as a dead man walking. Because I don't want to live anymore. But the one thing I do know is that if you kill the plant, there's no place to grow. So if any of my visions that I have for myself are to come to light, I have to let go, keep going, pray, just try to become a better person. Even though I don't, there's a big part of me that has no hope for myself. But I have to try. Even if it's just for my family, even if it's just for my daughter that I barely know. I have to keep trying. I still love my ex. I still love those boys. I still love my daughter's sister. All the things that I did not mean to do. Please forgive me. I have one more thing to say, but my recording's going to stop on the camera, so I have to. In closing, There are different kinds of people out there in the world. There are people that just live. They don't try to be good, they don't try to be bad, they just go through life, doing whatever they can just to survive. And they let things be the way they are. There are bad people. They will do everything they can, one way or the other, to either destroy the lives around them or make the lives around them miserable. And then there are the good people that always, no matter what happens, try to do good in this world. And the good people are split off to two additional kinds of people. Person that knows good, is mentally healthy, and always does good, no matter what happens. That understands life to an extent where they don't have to worry about getting things wrong. And then there's the good people, and I fit into this category, that try to do good and try to work things out to the best of their ability, but doesn't always have the right answer, whether that is internally or externally. And this part of my life where I've lost someone that I love dearly, that I don't think I'll ever be able to find a suitable match to. I allowed the demons from the inside to take hold of what was supposed to be. And not only did I do that with her, but I did it with my relationship beforehand. And I'm at a point where maybe I'm not suitable for a relationship. But like I said, I will continue to keep trying. Because as much as I don't believe that I deserve it, I'm going to keep trying. There's some things I just have to do. There's some things that I will do. And others that will be very hard for me to ever try again. Unless it is with her. Stick to the original plan, which was separate for a year or two and try again. But her kids are scared of me. And I understand. I get it. But I want them to know that that wasn't me. That wasn't the true me. I lost myself in my own emotions. Like how even some of them do when they get frustrated, they lash out. I just hope one day they can understand that that wasn't me. It's not who I wanted to be. Hope that one day they can trust me again. All those that I've hurt, I'm sorry. As much as I don't want to, I'm going to keep trying. I'm sorry. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. This has ended up being a little over an hour long, which is what I expected. There is one more thing I do want to say. It is in sort of in accordance with what I just said, that when people with mental confusion, mental problems, go through stuff like that, where they lash out, where they do things that are not of a human nature, or humane nature, I guess. They start throwing things around, slamming doors, yelling, like all those things are unnecessary. That's not coming from who they really are. That is a response to a lack of control, even within themselves. And I didn't have any control of myself at the time. And when to any of those that might be part of this situation that is listening to this, that no longer talk to me because of how things happened. First of all, I still love you all very much. And I had left. I grabbed 10, maybe 12 boxes of my things that I couldn't fit into my small car. And I left a whole month and a half earlier than I was supposed to. And as much as I wasn't there, and as much as how wrong it was for me to leave the way I did, one, I was lost. I wasn't thinking straight. Everything she did or didn't do was making me explode at the time. And that's why I left. because I didn't want to continue to explode. I wanted to get out of there. I wanted to be done walking on eggshells just like she was doing with me. We were both in a very bad place in our relationship. And neither one of us wanted to do it anymore at the time. Some people have said that I left because I needed a roof over my head. Honest to God, I would not have cared whether my roof was with my family or whether my roof was with the kids in a car. I wouldn't have cared. But because of the status of our relationship and how it was going, how much I hated myself, how much I hated how things were. I had just lost my job a month earlier. And because I lost my job, we had to leave. And everything continued to fall. It's like a house of cards. Once one thing fell, everything fell. And I'm sorry. My two hands were not involved in moving a lot of my own things. I'm sorry. I should have stayed. I should have helped. But there are some things that I need to rebuttal for that situation. One, even if I was there, the same things might have happened. I am one man with two hands. And yes, 4 hands are better than 2. But another thing is, where were you guys? And why didn't you listen? One of her cousins came over to help with coworkers of theirs, and she told them to move things in a specific order for a specific reason. But they didn't listen. They did it the way they wanted to do it. And if I was there, I would have told them to leave. If you're not going to help with the things we need help with at this time, then you can leave. Because you're not going to help us, you're going to make it worse. I would have told them that. But I wasn't. They did it the wrong way. She suffered for it. And it got blamed on me. It got put on me. She had a garage and storage from when her mom passed away. She had a bunch of things in the basement that needed to be moved first. because those are the things that she never touches. But they didn't listen. So then her very strong, very capable, but also fragile 75-year-old dad ended up helping her move, which he got hurt in the process. Where were you, cousins? Where were you, uncles? Where were you, aunties? Where were you, church people? And why didn't she reach out to them until the last minute? Those things are not on me, because I am one man with two hands. The time that it would have taken to move those things in the fashion they were moved would have been the same amount of time whether I was there or not. And the reason why I'm rebuttaling this is because that is one of the things that gave her reasons to give up on me. She makes her choices. She is an adult. She thinks of things a certain way. That is fine. And I laid my bed. I made my bed. When I made the choices I did in my own head. I used to bang my head actively against objects. I broke my dresser with my head. I made my forehead bleed from hitting it so hard against a door frame. I wanted to die. So with all of that, those mental demons I was facing, I was trying to fight, I was trying to do better, but it wasn't working. You guys were supposed to be my family. We were supposed to get married at one point. But that may never happen now because of how things happened. And yes, a lot of it is my fault, but not all of it is. I'm always depressed. I'm always depressed. I'm always angry. I'm always sad. I'm always regretful. I am a dead man walking. I'm sorry. And I hope one day we can recover what was lost. And one day I can be happy again.